how's it going? So today's been a little bit of a weird day. Like, do you guys ever have days where you feel like there are so many things that you could be working on that you end up not really picking anything to work on and you end up not really being that productive? Because that's how I feel like this morning has been. It's just been a little bit odd. And the weather is just, it's beautiful. Like, I should have been out taking advantage of it. The high today is 82. Tomorrow's high is like 77. And then it looks like we're gonna stay in the high 80s for the next 10 days. So hopefully we're kind of into that slide into autumn. That would be like a super welcome change at this point. So one of the things I know I need to get done today, this is just gonna be kind of a random project afternoon, but I've got to clean these onions and get them in our root cellar. And then I've got, I think, 2 varieties of potatoes still sitting out in the cut flower garden. I could leave them in the ground longer, I think, but I think I'm ready to get them all dug up so that they can sit here and cure, and then dry, not really cure, dry, so I can clean them up and put them in the root cellar as well. Because before you know it, I'm gonna be harvesting squash and stuff, and I'm gonna need to be organized in this root cellar. So just as a reminder, I did harvest these in a video recently. They've been sitting out here for a little while just drying out because you can see there was quite a bit of soil attached to the bulbs. I forgot to turn the water off a couple days before I was gonna harvest. I'm never really organized enough to turn water off because I never really know when I'm going to be harvesting. It's always kind of like, do I have a couple hours available? Now's the time to harvest. You just kind of like have to take the time when you find it, I guess. So anyway, they have dried out and they also have cured, which is a really important step, especially if you're going to be storing them. So curing onions, super easy. It's just like curing garlic. You just lay them out to dry. Like in this case, I had soil still stuck to the bulbs. It's a lot easier to clean them up when the soil is dry. And you don't want to, especially if you're trying to store them, have any excess moisture around those bulbs in any way, because then you could introduce possible rot issues. Storage life, of course, goes way down. Also, when they're sitting here for a week, 10 days, when they're drying out, they're also absorbing any excess or extra energy that's in the leaves. So we leave the leaves still intact and we leave the roots intact because those bulbs will suck in that energy. It'll help their sugars accumulate and the flavor really improves and it's really tasty. So anyway, they have done that. The tops are all dried out. So today we will clean off the tops, clean any excess soil around the bulbs, cut off the roots, then we'll weigh them. I don't weigh onions or garlic or anything like that until after I've cleaned them up. I kind of go by weights, like how you would find them to buy them. So anyway, we'll do this first and then we'll see what kind of time we have left and maybe we'll run out to the cut flower garden and get our potatoes harvested. Okay, first thing, I need to grab my baskets. I need to clean stuff out in here too. Grab this one too. This has onions from an earlier harvest in the bottom. And these baskets are really wonderful. I picked these up at the garden center. They're nice and tall, but they're slender. So they're easy to tuck in a corner somewhere. And then we've cut pieces of wood, just like a 2x4 that runs over the top of one, so that it can act as kind of a shelf, and then I can stack them like this. But these are nice because they're slatted. It's really important to store your produce in something that breathes. So anyway, let's just start in. Got it all done. There are so many onions here. Look at all of these. So white sweet Spanish here, Walla Walla here. This basket is kind of a mix of varieties. These are the ones I just need to use up first because, like, I don't know, like the top felt just a tiny bit squishy. This part's great, so I can use the whole bottom, but that wouldn't store very well. So any of them, which not very many, that I didn't think would store very well, went into this basket. And then we've got 2 crates full of candy onions. So I've got my scale up here, I've got it on, and I know that these baskets, or crates rather, weigh 3.5 pounds. This weighs 2 pounds right on the dot. And then this weighed 1.6 pounds. So we're gonna get weights, like a total weight of all of these, and then we'll subtract the weight of the baskets so that we know how many onions we have total. Let's do it. 327.95 pounds of onions.
What are those?
Those are onions.
Onions.
Uh-huh.
I like onions.
Do you like onions?
Yeah.
You like to chop onions, don't you?
Yeah, but what's this?
That's an onion skin.
Onion skin. Ah, I see.
Yeah. You can put that in the bin if you want.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm completely messy. I just saw my face in the camera when I was in the root cellar. Oh my, what is on my face? What the heck? Oh my word, I don't know how it looks like I rolled around in dirt, but it does. So I should probably go take a shower, but I've got to work on getting these onions put into the root cellar so that they're all tucked away and ready. And later on, I'm going to take a bunch of these. I'm going to offer some to family and friends, and then I'm going to take a bunch and donate them. I will probably keep like just 2 baskets worth. We do go through quite a number of onions, but not this many. There's no reason I need to keep this many. So that's the plan, but I want to get them out of the heat for now. So we'll put them in the cold storage, root cellar, and then I think I'm going to go out and attempt to dig some of the potatoes at least. I'm already dirty, so who cares? Doesn't matter at this point. And right inside the root cellar, I saved this little chart that came from Gardener's Supply. I got a harvest storage rack from them, and this was super handy. I kind of laminated it with the packing tape, and so it stayed nice in here. But it lines out a bunch of different types of crops and how long you can expect them to store if you follow the storage suggestions, I guess you could say. So some crops like to be stored cold with kind of high humidity, and some like it cool and relatively dry-ish. So like onions here, they like cool and dry storage, 32 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit with a 60 to 70% relative humidity. But you know, I try to find a happy medium because I do store a lot of pumpkins and squash, dry hot peppers, I have those in here now, potatoes of course. I also store beets and carrots. What else have I started to store in here? I've had apples in here before. I've had green beans and sweet peppers and cucumbers and watermelon. So quite a number of the things on this list. And dahlia tubers, can't forget those. And there they are. Isn't that satisfying? And there's the basket that I need to go through first. And those are the potatoes I'm trying to work on eating first, all the small ones that don't store as long. So this is kind of my like consume it now sort of shelf. Lots of onions there. And then we've got potatoes right here already. These are full of Huckleberry Golds, Yukon Golds, and Red Norlands. And then we've got up here all the garlic. All right, it's actually a new day. Time kind of ran away from me yesterday. I didn't realize how late it was when I got the onions done. So we're out in the cut flower garden this morning getting ready to dig the potatoes. And it's actually breezier today than it was yesterday. High is 79 today, which is lovely. Great day to dig potatoes. And here they are. So this is where the other potatoes were. I had Norlands, Huckleberry Golds, and then we've got these massive, like these potato plants still look good. They're still blooming. It makes me think that I should maybe leave them. But the end is where the Yukon Golds were, and I've got 3 different things, cress, zinnias, and kale planted already, and they're already coming up. So anyway, I thought we could get these up and drying so we have time to plant something else here should we decide to. And we're gonna start with German butterballs. All right, so there's the rest of the potatoes. German butterballs back here, 60.1 pounds. So I weighed all three of these and then subtracted 3.5 pounds, which is how much the crate weighs. So 60.1, and I ended up with a just assortment of sizes. Some of them are just huge. A lot of them are kind of like medium size like this. And then I did get a handful, well, quite a number of small ones as well. For our russet Burbank, same story, just a whole bunch of different sizes. I honestly think I could have left all of these in the ground for longer, but I really want to get that area prepped, and I'm having to keep it like clearly a lot more moist than these potatoes probably like, and I didn't want to risk rotting them. So I ended up with 96.3 pounds of russet Burbanks between the two crates, which brings our total potato pound count to just under 400 pounds for this year, which is crazy. I did not expect that. I kind of was shooting for maybe 300 pounds, you know, because I just didn't know how they would do out on the new property. I usually plant my potatoes in a raised bed where they have a lot of room to grow and size up. Out there, the soil is really hard. Like Aaron took his tiller through there, and it tilled the soil and made it nice and fluffy down as far as the tiller would reach, and right underneath that it is just so hard. The hard pan is crazy out there, and I thought, well, the potatoes are going to make it right down to that layer, and then they're going to have to grow sideways in order to kind of size up. So I'm really happy with the harvest this year. So what I'm going to do is leave these potatoes out to dry for a few days, and I just leave them in these crates. I don't, I mean, it's best if you can lay them out flat, which I could do. I just don't really want to go to the effort of doing that. With breathable containers like this, and with how dry we are, and it is breezy, that helps. They will dry out in a few days. We'll clean them up, get them ready for storage, but I'm going to go through all of my potatoes and onions because we cannot eat 770 pounds of potatoes and onions, and I will hold back what I think we're going to use for the season or for the year, and I'll store those in the root cellar, and then we'll give away everything else. That's the plan. So I would say potatoes, onions, success this year. We also had an amazing garlic harvest. Cabbage was amazing. Cucumbers, I stopped counting. We were at like 224, I think, off of 2 small plants. And they're regular sized cucumbers. They're not pickly cucumbers. The variety is salad bush, but I stopped counting because I harvest every day and it just got to be a little bit too much. Tomatoes were doing pretty good, not as good as last year. Last year, you know, I started those 30 tomatoes out on the new property, and they were like beast. They were amazing. I got so many tomatoes off those plants, and I was able to have friends come over and harvest so that they could can them. I got some salsa and tomato sauce from that. Actually, I benefited from that. They gave me some jars. And then this year I decided not to plant that many tomatoes. I did plant that many tomatoes, but they're not doing near as well. The ones I planted near the house in our raised beds are doing great, producing a ton, way more than we can eat. The ones I planted to try out the Florida weave method of staking rather, not so great. I mean, I've had to pull some of those plants because they just kind of withered up and went away. I don't know if it's just the intensity of this year. They're out in the middle of nowhere, not protected by anything, but they were last year too. But they just, like, our wind has been crazy. Anyway, they're starting to produce now, and I think now that we're going to kind of see a shift in temperature and it's going to be a little bit more mild, they might perk up and do better, but I'll show you that later on. And honestly, it was kind of a plant it and forget it. We have so much going on that I haven't tended to that area at all, and bless Paul's heart, he has been keeping up on like keeping the string going as they've grown up just a little bit. Other than that, I haven't touched him at all. So you kind of got to know your limits, I guess, and not spread yourself too thin because that was one thing that just kind of dropped off my radar this year. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.